Some of you feel that I may have overreacted a little when I first tried the AirPods Pro 3s. And while I stand behind my assessment that Apple unnecessarily boosted the bass on this product, the Beats acquisition was for the brand name, not the sound signature. It is clear that after daily driving them for a couple of months for a longer term review, that you were right. I've now accepted that it is a small price to pay for the plethora of benefits that these bring to the table. The way that Apple managed to pack the heart rate sensor and its supporting electronics into the ear tip is nothing short of incredible in a mass-produced product. The increased battery life and the more secure fit have directly contributed to a more restful sleep for me, sometimes lasting all the way through the night. And the ANC is quite literally the difference between a restful travel experience and arriving on 0 hours of sleep and not being able to function. Not to mention its day-to-day utility, both as a tool for taking the edge off of sensory overloading environments and as a quick and dirty hearing protection that both looks better on camera, which is great for me, and thanks to Apple's incredible adaptive transparency mode, allows me to communicate with others in those environments. Like, wow. But none of that means that they aren't without legitimate issues, like the unnecessary omission of this pry point that results in some ear tips getting stuck on the AirPods Pro 3s so tight that they can't be removed without ripping off the silicone flange. Also, while the fit is more secure, it is still not as comfortable for me. So, do I upgrade or do I stick with the 2s? I legitimately don't know what to do.
There is another way, my child.
Tim? Is that you?
It is I, and you have forgotten the sacred words passed down for generations. Why not both?
No, I thought the secret words were segue to our sponsor.
Charge. Their IceMag 3 is a Qi 2 25-watt wireless fast charging power bank. Keep your device cool while the speeds are hot thanks to their TurboFlow active cooling. It's clean and stylish and has that sweet, sweet RGB. Grab your IceMag 3 today with the link in the video description.
Something I want to make clear is whether we're talking about my initial short circuit or this video, any criticisms you hear from me about the AirPods Pro 3 or even the entire AirPods Pro lineup comes from a place of love. I may despise some of Apple's pricing strategies and business practices, but I have been a die-hard user of this product line ever since it launched, and the AirPods Pro 2s were by far my favorite true wireless earbuds for their entire 3-year life cycle. And that is in spite of the fact that Apple treats me like an absolute second-class citizen for having the audacity to pair them with an Android phone. With that said, I was impressed by just how seamless the process was for pairing my Pro 3s to my Android. You just tap the virtual button in the front, and within about 5 seconds you can be listening to music. And only listening to music. Even using a third-party app that does allow battery monitoring and pausing playback when removing an earphone, as an Android user, I miss out on a lot of the functionality of these, like binding separate actions for pressing the left and right stem, using head gestures for control, pausing media when I fall asleep, using the stem as a camera shutter, personalized spatial audio and adaptive audio that adjusts based on my environment. Forget about it! The list goes on and on and on. I mean, you still can't even update the firmware on your AirPods unless you have an iPhone, an iPad, or a Mac, which personally, I believe entitles Apple to a special level of hell for them and any other company that is so user hostile that they will punish a customer with cut down functionality simply because they haven't bought enough of their products to be cared about. But once you try the ANC, or the active noise cancellation on these earbuds, you just can't go back. It is genuinely mind-blowing what Apple has done here, and the more that I've used these, the more that I love them. Here's a paragraph that I wrote while I was on a flight to Japan for the Kioxia Fab Tour. I feel like I'm flying private, almost. There is a bit more pressure than before when you enable the ANC, but you quickly forget about that as you just marvel at the silence. And Flying Linus wasn't exaggerating. Plouffe took these home for a week and said basically the same thing. Just about everything, engine noise, crowd chatter, treadmills, it's either gone or it's reduced to a light hum. And that's before you turn on any music. The moment you press play on your media, even some appliances like blender. What?
Yeah, just wait for that.
Oh, I couldn't hear it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's a plane overhead that's interrupting our shoot, and I can't tell. You can't script that shit, man. Anyway, let me continue. Seriously, they might be too good. Turning ANC off when you're in a noisy environment can be downright jarring, especially if you've been using transparency to speak to the people around you. It almost makes me wish that they offered 2 or 3 different levels, so you could have a little bit of ANC just for walking around the mall, but the full fat when you're trying to sleep on a noisy plane. Even without that though, they are simply phenomenal, and I'm gonna be using these when I travel for years to come, all without worrying too much about the battery life. And that last point is a huge one that is pushing me toward the 3s. Whether you've got the ANC on or off, if you've got the case with you, these things last forever. Okay, not forever, and 8 hours isn't even gonna get me all the way from here to China, but they recharge so quickly that even once they finally do run dry, you just throw them in the case and you can zap them up to 3 times in between every time you recharge that. And it's just a non-issue if your bedtime routine already includes plugging in your electronic gizmos, or putting them on a Qi-spot, or putting them on your Apple Watch charger. There's just so many options, none of which they felt was necessary to include in the box, of course, not even a charging cable, which, to be clear, I get it. That wouldn't bother me either. I actually agree with Apple that we don't need an endless supply of warts and cheap cables. But their end of the deal is that they're supposed to pass the savings on to me. And you know damn well they didn't. Talk about pricing later though. Back to the case for a second. The extra battery life and the updated shape did make it a bit bigger, which I noticed immediately in my unboxing. But it still fits in all my usual pockets that I store my AirPods in, so realistically, it hasn't changed the experience of using it much. And it really is a great user experience. Find My is included, so as long as you at least have a friend with an iPhone, they're pretty easy to track down, which I have had to do a number of times, including once when my 2 Pros were stolen. And they still have the speaker that makes little ping noises to make them easier to find. I guess the hinge is slightly less satisfying, but it's still better than just about any other wireless headphone. They're just a great overall package. Unfortunately for Apple, this is the part where I start bringing up the less positive stuff, starting with the ear tips. My rage is justified here, guys, because what were they thinking? I mean, yeah, it's not the kind of thing that you have to change often, but removing and replacing the ear tips sucks. I don't know if this is a manufacturing tolerance thing or what, but if you get one of the ones that fits as tight as mine do, good luck removing these without tools or without tearing them to absolute pieces. I tried to swap them out on a flight thinking that it would be easy. Big mistake. And the worst part is regardless of which size I try, I still prefer the comfort of the AirPods Pro 2s. Your mileage will vary on this one, but it's a big reason why, spoiler alert, I might not end up daily driving these, at least not for everything. More on that later, because next I want to talk a bit more about the lack of feature support on Android, which, need I remind you, is estimated at over 70% of mobile phone users worldwide. If you've got an iPhone, the AirPods Pro 3s are a lot more than just earbuds. They're a single pair of devices that can play audio, act as a hearing aid or hearing protection, read your heart rate, and do live translation. Okay, slowly for that last one, but it is still an incredible package, even at $250 US. Wait, did I say $250 US? Because I meant more like starting at $850. Because unless you spend that much, Apple doesn't want to give you a bunch of those features. Now, LibrePods is a thing. Kavishdevar posted on r/Android apps about a month ago claiming that they have reverse engineered the AirPods protocol, giving us key features like ear detection, conversational awareness, and head gestures. Except the problem is, as cool as that is, and like seriously, like gold star for you, it requires root access. So very, very few Android users are likely to use it, which really sucks because it also adds a freaking EQ mode. On that note, let's talk a bit more about sound quality. Did I overreact? Yes. They offer up suitably adequate sound quality for listening to anything from podcasts to your favorite metal album. But while I could have toned it down a little, my point does still stand. They are worse when compared to the AirPods Pro 2s for the average listener, as you can see from this helpful visual courtesy of DMS. It isn't a massive downgrade, but this is an expensive pair of earbuds from a company that has the R&D budget of a small nation. Okay, I shouldn't fly off the handle, but I also don't have to lick their boots. Apple created their own mess here by branding themselves as innovative and constantly reminding us that the new version is just way better than the old one. Sorry, that was a terrible accent. The point is, this time around, it isn't. At least not in every way. By the way, the labs team wrote up a great article on testing these earbuds, so if you want to know more about that, we'll have it linked down below. Spoiler, some folks said that a firmware update might change the sound profile, but we got the same results with the latest firmware, so what's more likely is that they, like I did, either got more used to it or they got the hang of getting a better fit in their ears. You know, it's funny, I thought I'd have a clear answer after spending 2 months with these, but I'm still torn. And it's not just me. More and more reviews have come out with mixed opinions now that people have had these for weeks or months, and they're not just glazing Apple over their shiny new toy. So in conclusion, Pro 3s. Yeah, I don't think there's any other answer, is there? Did I say I wasn't gonna daily the Pro 2s? I think I've changed my mind between then and now. I think I'll hand me down my AirPods Pro 2s, and then maybe I'll treat myself to a nice USB-C to 3.5mm adapter, and then I'll just use the IE600s that I already carry for emergencies whenever audio really matters. But it isn't in a noisy environment. I tried them on the plane. It was awful compared to these. Like absolutely awful. And, oh, sorry, I gotta take this. Oh, it's our sponsor. They want me to segue to our sponsor.
Vessi. It's that time of year where you need to think about gifts for loved ones. What do you give that one person who doesn't seem to want anything? Well, I know one thing we all want: dry socks. Right now, Vessi has their largest sale of the year going on. They're offering 25% off their entire site, with some items being discounted by a whopping 55%. You know Vessi as the folks who claim to make 100% waterproof shoes like their Stormburst lineup. But did you know that they also make other stylish apparel like jackets and beanies? So grab yourself a couple items as well and stay dry during those last-minute slushy trips to the mall. You know you're in good hands with Vessi since they back up their shoes with a 1-year warranty and 30-day worry-free returns. One of Vessi's best deals of the year is happening right now. Don't wait, your perfect pair is just one click away at Vessi.com.
Thanks for watching. If you guys liked this video, maybe check out the unboxing we did. Man, was I ever ticked off when I first listened to these. Real look at how they massacred my boy energy. Place of love, and I do still love them. I just love them a little less.